to talk a little bit about the magic of the Snuffleball. So Snuffleball is an adaptation of the Snuffle mat technology. It is, well, there are lots of different ways to make it, but basically mine, the kind that I make for people, is strips of fleece tied in knots around a roller ball, one of those lattice balls. Basically, the idea is food falls out of the holes that have different sizes, at different rates, at different difficulty, depending on how your dog plays with it and what you put inside of it. So this is an enrichment toy, an enrichment tool. It is also, super important to note, a supervised toy. So this is not something that you want your dog to kind of have access to at will at any point during the day, especially if you're not going to be around. So this is something that you should think about. We'll talk about how you can use it for management if you can kind of give them like a small percentage of your attention if you're trying to do something else. That's a way we can use it for management. But if you want to really use it as a toy, I recommend making sure you're in a position to kind of like be there and kind of do it with your dog. So anyway, we'll talk about just some things to know about it. So I mentioned it is a supervised toy, but mine's also washable, like in the washing machine on low settings. They come out good as new, but you can also replace the fleece if yours gets a little loved or a little dirty or smelly. You can always get new fleece and tie around the balls, or I'm happy to do that for you. But anyway, we'll just get right into it. So the way that these work is the idea is that it rolls. So kind of like with a snuffle mat, if you're familiar with that, they've kind of got their face buried in the fleece to find the food. This they can knock around with their heads or their faces or use their paws on, and it's not a problem. But like I said, there are holes in it, and we're actually going to use one of these bigger holes as our kind of food delivery or our food loading hole. All of the holes are food delivery holes. But I'll show you how to load it up and give you some ideas for what to load it up with, and then I'll show you one in action with my dog Bean. So right now, I just have a mix of kibble and some training treats because my dog gets her meals by working. I'm cruel. But this is stuff that I know that she likes. This is gonna be pretty easy to fall out of the holes. So we have some bigger chunks of like dehydrated turkey, like these things, and some dehydrated sweet potato, and then her regular tiny little kibble triangles. So kibble's gonna come out a lot easier than the larger sized items, as you can imagine. So I'm just taking this hole, I've spread out the fleece. Well, Beans also helped with that. This ball is a little used, but I'm just gonna load it up. And to first introduce it to your dog, like for the very first time, I'll do a brief demo how to actually get your dog kind of acclimated to this strange foreign ball looking thing. So we'll do a demo right now. Okay, so our superstar Bean does not know how to pretend like she's never seen a snuffle ball. She's already too expert at it. So I'll just kind of talk through hypothetically what it would look like for you to introduce this to your dog the first time. So my ball is loaded up, it's ready to go. I'm gonna put it on the floor, and likely my dog's, well, not my dog, but likely your dog or a dog not familiar with this technology is going to look at it and then look at you and be like, why are we making food hard? What is this contraption? So I like to sort of just sprinkle treats, kibble, like do high value stuff that very first time so they're interested in it. It goes a lot quicker, I promise. So pretend like this is the first time and I have string cheese. Something crazy, something they cannot resist. So string cheese, string cheese? Okay, string cheese. I'm gonna sprinkle little shreds of it all over the top. The idea is that they can see the food It's easy to get to. They don't have to like do anything unpleasant to acquire this, except approach the weird thing, which is what we want. So we're not gonna force them. We're just gonna lay it on the ground, sprinkle the food on top of it, sprinkle around it too, just get them interested in it, let them know that it's safe. And don't say a word, just kind of sit back and watch it happen. Let them do it on their own time. So once your pupper has, you know, eaten all of the food that's been easy to get, they might be, you know, more willing to kind of paw at it to kind of get at some of the other food. And then what you're about to see will eventually happen. So now we have Bean demoing her crazy enthusiasm for a Snuffleball. Okay, so now that we've seen a Snuffleball in action, I just want to add one more important note. When the ball is empty, when the Snuffleball is broken and it's not delivering treats anymore, take it up. So this is not something that they should have access to 24/7 whenever they want. This should be kind of a special toy. Again, this is an enrichment tool. So it's not just something cute or funny for them to do, which it is. It's a way to kind of tire their brains out in a healthy way. This is a puzzle they have to solve. They've got to figure out how to get the food out of it. So they're going to use their paws, use their face. There are lots of different ways to solve this puzzle. So you'll see my dog pushes it around because she knows that the easy kibble is going to fall out of those big holes eventually. So she just kind of beats up on it a little bit. But our trainer has a dog whose method of the Snuffleball is to allow the ball to be loaded with his breakfast, and then he takes the ball in his mouth and shakes it until the kibble flies everywhere. And that is how he solves the puzzle. And it is effective. And he has a great time collecting all of the kibble that's all over the house and probably never all gonna get found. But so, you know, any way your dog chooses to solve the puzzle is great. The fact is they're solving the puzzle. They're being successful with something, and that's gonna start building confidence for them. So whenever they can be good, it's also gonna increase their working intelligence. So always try to stay a step ahead of the dog if they're sneaky or crafty. But anytime we can build confidence is gonna be a good thing. So there are ways to make this harder. The most obvious route would be strange shaped foods. or like different shaped treats or whatever. So something I use pretty frequently along with the kibble. So we have a little bit of like easy stuff where they just look at it, food falls out, some medium stuff that they're gonna have to kind of work at to get out, and then something they will never get out in a million years. That's crazy awesome. So I would either use like a long piece of dehydrated chicken breast or dehydrated sweet potato. So I have like kind of big, I have them, I don't know why I'm not showing them to you. I have kind of big, long strips of the sweet potato, the dehydrated sweet potato, that I will shove in the ball. It takes a lot of effort, but I get it in there. She knows it's in there, but she needs me with the thumbs to get it out for her. So again, this is kind of a human dog partner extravaganza. So different shaped food. You could also like shove some, I've also shoved some of the pieces of fleece into the holes. Bean's playing with the ball right now, so I don't have it with me. But you can shove the pieces of fleece into the holes to kind of stop up some of the holes. That'll make it harder too. And then also the Mac Daddy of hardness, which my dog has never solved, no matter how determined she is with her paws, is to, and this is kind of mean, but if your dog is there, your dog is there. Like we gotta keep making it harder for him. Take one of the pieces of fleece, like untie it from the ball, retie it with a treat inside the knot, and then they will untie it. They will figure it out, or will it out of out of the knot. So regardless, there's lots of different ways that we can make this, you know, we can adjust this to the needs and skill level of your particular dog. So finally, the management piece that I advertised at the beginning. I love this toy, not just because like it's gonna give Bean that enrichment time that she needs, help kind of tire out her brain. So we're not only ever just doing like the physical activity, we're also acknowledging the mental side of things. But the ultimate management thing for me, I have visitors come a lot of times because I have friends somehow. But I have, you know, when I have friends come and visit, Bean is super social, and she loves people that she knows, which are my friends. And they want to see the dog, but they don't really necessarily want Bean to climb in their mouths. So a great way to drive the attention downward without me having to put her away, because that's sad for everyone, but totally have to do it sometimes. Anyway, I will load up the Snuffleball before my guests arrive. I have it ready. So ideally, I would already have her working on that. If she's not going to be created when my guests arrive, I'm going to have her already be working on the Snuffleball. I get a little bit of a warning because I get a call from the gate to let my guests in. So at that point, I'll give her the ball, get her working on it, get her attention, kind of get her sticky to it. Then my guests come, she'll look up and then be like, that dehydrated beef liver is a little bit more exciting than those humans. And then she'll stay stuck to the ball. This is great because we can eventually sit down, start chatting, do whatever we're gonna do. Bean still gets to be a part of the action, but it's in her own sort of cute, pushing a fluffy ball around type of way, instead of getting overly excited, mouthing, or doing anything unpleasant to my guests. So she still gets to be a part of the action. I can kind of like be checking in on her. I know where she is, but I don't have to be managing the dog hands-on while I have guests over, and they can admire her corgi self. So that's one example of what this looks like in my real life management. So I'd love to hear if you guys have any other examples of how you might use this to help kind of solve problems like guests coming over, or different ways you could use this to make your life easier. Hope you enjoy your Snuffleballs, and all my love to you and your puppers.